want to keep going. No, they're kids. No, they don't get tired. They don't.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Co-Star, the official newspaper of the Borough of Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press on January 3rd, 2023, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building. Take roll call. Councilman Brennan?
Here.
Councilwoman McKinney? Here. Mayor Buckafusco?
Here.
Councilwoman Rodinero? Here. Councilman Levis?
Here.
Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for our troops, their families, and our first responders. Thank you. I think we have a proclamation to read. Councilwoman Rondinero is going to read it.
Thank you. This is an important proclamation recognizing June 2023 as Pride Month. Whereas the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Belmar recognizes and proclaims the month of June 2023 as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer LGBTQ Pride Month throughout the Borough of Belmar. And whereas the Borough of Belmar joins the County of Monmouth to observe Pride Month with a pride flag raising ceremony to honor the history of the LGBTQ liberation movement and to support the rights of all citizens to experience equality and freedom from discrimination. And whereas the rainbow flag is widely recognized as a symbol of pride, inclusion, and support for social movements that advocate for LGBTQ people in society. And whereas all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights, LGBTQ individuals have had immeasurable impact to the cultural, civic, and economic successes of our country. And whereas the Borough of Belmar is committed to support visibility, dignity, and equality for LGBTQ people in our diverse community. While society at large increasingly supports LGBTQ equality, it's essential to acknowledge the need for education and awareness remains vital to end discrimination and prejudice. And whereas the nation was founded on the principle that every individual has infinite dignity and worth, and the Mayor and Council call upon the people of Belmar to embrace this principle and work to eliminate prejudice everywhere it exists. And whereas Celebration Pride Month influences awareness and provides support and advocacy for Monmouth County's LGBTQ community, it is an opportunity to take action, engage in dialogue and strengthen alliances, build acceptance, and advance equal rights. Now therefore be it resolved, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Belmar hereby proclaim the month of June 2023 as Pride Month in support of the LGBTQ community. Be it further resolved that the rainbow flag will be raised during the month of June, recognizing all LGBTQ residents whose influential and lasting contributions to our neighborhoods make the Borough of Belmar a vibrant community in which to live, work, and visit.
Okay, let's move on to workshop. I'm going to start off, if you will. I'd like to start off with the Verizon update. I'm much more optimistic tonight as I sit here, more than I was a few meetings ago for a number of reasons, actually 3 reasons. We referred and we referenced this in the last meeting, but there was an issue with the county right-of-way and whether or not the poles were going to be in the county right away and whether or not Verizon had to go to the county for approvals to do that. And I believe we're at the point where they have done that. We know we have been in touch with some of the county officials, and we know that the form that was initially sent to us for the CAFRA permit ownership was received by the county. So they are obviously moving in that direction. What that does for us is it buys us time, because now they need to, and I'm just assuming they probably have to start up again with the county, get the right-of-way agreement. As far as we know, they don't have one at this point. And, so they're, I'll say, kind of back to square one as far as that goes. So that will give us time to kind of regroup and, and strategize on how we're gonna move forward. That's the first thing. The second thing is we have actually hired a telecommunications expert, an attorney, who all he does his name is Peter Lupo. You'll see the resolution on tonight's meeting. We had talked about this almost from the start, that we needed to kind of level the playing field because we had no expert on staff, and I think this will give us a tremendous boost in dealing with Verizon, because now we'll have someone that's on their level, who knows the law, who also has access to experts in terms of what they want to do, and will be fighting for us when Verizon, or if they come back to us regarding any polls. In fact, and the third thing that at his direction we've done, and you'll see it again on tonight's agenda, is he suggested that we revamp our ordinance. There are actually two sections of ordinances, Chapter 43 and Chapter 43A, which talk about small cell wireless facilities. He reviewed them and said, we really just need to get rid of them, and we're going to institute a new section 43, which is geared to really protect us more and give us more flexibility when we're dealing with these telecommunication companies. So, those are the three things I think that make me more optimistic tonight. We have time to do things. We have, an expert who may actually appear here at some point to give us a presentation or whatever as we move along. And then finally, we're putting an ordinance in place that's going to protect us more than the current ones do. So I'm very optimistic, and we'll keep you posted as to what happens. We've heard nothing else from Verizon, correct? No. So, hopefully that'll be like that forever. Don't count on that, but it's been very quiet, so that's a good thing. The second thing I would like to talk about is the Seafood Fest. I need to thank, obviously, John Walsh, who did about a year's worth of work in 4 months. And of course, DPW, law enforcement, the police, the EMS squad, the fire officials, everybody did their part. It was a great event. Obviously, it rained on Saturday, and we didn't move forward because of the threat of thunder showers. And obviously, with thunder showers comes the threat of lightning. So, but I think from what we've heard is many of the vendors made up for Saturday on Sunday. We had a beautiful day, and I was there most of the time, and it just seemed like everybody was having a great time. People were moving in and out, walking up 5th Avenue, 6th Avenue, and it seemed very controlled. People enjoyed listening to the music. They were sitting on the grass. The other thing, actually, I walked by there today. Grass actually looks in pretty good condition. I think maybe a rain or two and some sunny days, and it'll be back to where it was. Considering the rain we had on Saturday, it really wasn't muddy at all. I think for the most part, the people were very good in not distributing litter and whatever. I walked through the fest a number of times, and I didn't see too much garbage on the ground or anything like that. So I think we really had a great event. The vendors were happy, the people were happy, and I think it just worked out for the best. So hopefully, this will be the start of the whole series of seafood fests up at the lake. So again, thank you, John. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, Chief, and the fire and EMS people. All did a great job. And that's all I have at this point. Anybody else?
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to invite David Healy from the Jersey Shore Rowing Association. He had a small presentation he wanted to make.
Thank you, Councilman Levis. My name is David Healy. I appreciate the mayor and council's invitation to speak with you all regarding an issue that's very near and dear to us for many, many years. I'm the founding member and spokesperson and acting president for the Jersey Shore Rowing Association. You probably see a lot of our boats rowing by or driving by or rowing by. They're the ones with the holes in it. The first question is, how do they float? We formed an organization in 2006 because we had a number of people that really wanted to promote the sport that was kind of dying on the beachfront. When we started, everybody was fighting for boats, and we've accomplished that goal. I'm joined here with some of the members. There's probably 40 of them, multiple boats, and our organization was developed to promote sportsmanship, to promote rowing and recreational rowing, non-motorized boats, and really continue what, I'm also a boat builder, and so it's a Jersey Shore tradition. It's a Seabright skiff, and it really means a lot to us, and we do everything out of pocket. Anyway, with that said, we use a number of ramp accesses, and it's becoming more and more challenging. And one of them is the Belmar ramp, and one of them is the Shark River ramp, and then Manasquan. And for one reason or another, there are greater restrictions. We're not your typical boaters. We're non-motorized. We don't use gas. We don't fish. We don't discard waste. And the hours that we use our ramps are usually early in the morning. And the summer months and the high peak months, where most of the ramps like Belmar, that's actually our slow time of the year because most of our boats are on the beaches. So this winter, thank you, your ramps are open, and it's just a great place to launch. So I've met with Mr. Levis, who's on the Harbor Commission, and they gave me the opportunity to speak. So what I'm asking the mayor and the council respectfully is the opportunity for our group to have ramp access as a not-for-profit organization that does a number of rows that raise funds for cancer and childhood diabetes and fallen police officers and all those things. And we also provide junior guard clinics for the local lifeguards and the junior guards, the little children. And then this spring we introduced, it was a month-long 4-night event where we introduced anyone who wanted to rowing our equipment out on Deal Lake. Each Wednesday night we had about 15 community members come out. And the feedback we received since is, we want to get out again, we want to get out again. So those are the things that we do. And so I'm respectfully requesting that the council take into consideration, and the mayor, opportunity or an access for what we do to the ramp in Belmar. As I said, we have multiple boats, so your traditional boat access, it's for a workout, it's for training purposes. Most of us go out to the Nationals. We'll be in Virginia Beach this year. We compete on the national level. We're comprised of multiple national champions. In fact, Monmouth County are consistently, historically, are the top performers in rowing in the country. And part of it is because we train here regularly on the beaches. I mean, that says a lot. Monmouth County, best rowers in the country, surfboat rowers. So we'd like consideration for ramp access to this ramp. It's usually early in the morning. We don't impact the launching of other boats, motorized boats, parking. There's not a lot of us. We're in and out. It's a very quick unloading and loading. It's a matter of a couple of minutes. We've gotten very good at it. The boats only weigh 300 pounds. We have, I brought a couple of things. This is one of our race series that we put together. We incorporated with all the lifeguard tournaments, and we put these up, and we get a pretty good turnout. And so that's my proposal, and if I'm open to any questions that you may have, I'd be happy to answer them.
Mr. Healy, how many members of your group are lifeguards, active or retired?
So I'm glad you asked that. So our lifeguards, there's about 40 of them that row, 2 to a boat, 20 boats, either up in northern Monmouth County or southern Monmouth County. And all our members are comprised of volunteers in some capacity, or they are police officers, EMTs, the water rescue unit at night, that's volunteer. If there's an incident in Shark River, they get called, they rescue, firemen, EMTs, paramedics, lifeguards, all of Belmar lifeguards, Spring Lake lifeguards, Long Branch lifeguards. It's our passion, it's what our kids do, it's what our families do, it's what our friends do. So, but about 40, Mr. Levis, lifeguards. And those lifeguards also are, as I said, police officers, fire, EMT, and so on, all volunteers. At least one of our members is he's part of the water rescue, or we have other members that are part of the answer team, where they have their boat docked at Shark River. If there's a capsize or a water rescue, they're up 2, 3 in the morning if they have to. And those are the things that we do. If I may just kind of add to it, so a typical pass, I don't know what it is, $300, $400 for the season. You can imagine with 40 rowers, it's really not, we're just trying to get a workout in, you know, we're not commercial, we just want to get a workout, and we just want access. And we're very courteous, and we wouldn't impede, you know, the orderly operation of your ramp, or anything like that. So, that's my proposal, so.
I'm just curious, I don't know anything about it. What does the boat look like?
It's a 19-foot Seabright skiff. You've seen them all over the beach. They actually were originally built around the turn of even before the turn of the century for fishing. They were,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's a rowboat.
Yeah.
It's a 2-person rowboat, and it's 19 feet. Our boats actually have a false bottom. They have holes in the side, so they're designed to go through huge surf, and then the water just runs out of them so they don't fill up and capsize.
Gotcha.
I have a question.
Sure.
So is it gonna be every day, like every morning you wanna do these workouts, or is it just a couple times a week? Like, what's the access?
It varies. So the ramp, and let's speak about that ramp because we launch at other places. I was at the Shrewsbury River yesterday, Long Branch, they have a public access there. We go out of Manasquan, Shark River, and so on. So it varies, but I would tell you your typical week, you may only have ramp use 3 days a week, and it may be my 1 boat, or maybe as many as 3 boats. Yeah, we're not talking about 10 boats showing up. Yeah, we're
Two to a boat, oh my God.
two to a boat, and it's usually early in the morning, so many of us work. I'm thankfully retired. Many of us work, so I recommend it. And I've been to a lot of board meetings. I'm having some PTSD, but anyway, but most of our rowers are rowing 5:36 in the morning before there's any activity. Sometimes at night, 6, 7 o'clock, right up until sundown. We row out of Shark River Inlet, we go out in the ocean. But the impact is minimal. It really is minimal. Parking.
We're talking a couple boats, a couple times a week.
Yes, and so you may have a day that you might have 3 boats show up on a Saturday or Sunday. Most mornings, you may have 1 boat, if any boats. We're not talking like, when you say 40 members, 20 boats, it's not 40 members, 20 boats all the time. We're on Deal Lake, we're up at the Shrewsbury River, we're up in Manasquan, and we all have different schedules. But it's really, it's low impact. As I said, we just want to continue what we do. And we'd like your consideration, want to recognize what we do. We assist in beach cleanups along Shark River. When we were at the last meeting, Mr. Levis, the Harbor Commissioner mentioned that you have a sailing school here for young people, and that you have a Belmar Day, I think, or whatever you call it. This is what we do. We would be happy to show up with our equipment and our boats, and along with sailing, have young people in our boats and take them out on the river and teach them how to row. So those are the things that we do, and we'd be happy to do that.
The Harbor Commission didn't have any concerns?
No, we heard the
about
same
this?
thing, and we raised a lot of questions, and Mr. Gilly actually answered a lot of our concerns. Because we had concerns about the amount of use that would be happening at the boat ramp, the hours, and is it gonna interfere with, the regular commercial user, the regular recreational users, and really the impact's gonna be minimal based on the times of day that they're going. And, again, we're not talking about 20 boats at the same time.
And we're asking for no charge, you're just asking.
Well,
for
that would be great.
Or are you asking for a reduction in a fee?
If we could have one pass that's shared with the organization, I don't know how that would work because we're all over the place. I really don't know how the system works.
That was the recommendation from the Harbor Commission as well, would be a single pass for the organization, and whether they have a lockbox or something down to be able to use it would be the most ideal way.
And another question, and I'm speaking on behalf of the organization, Mark has my number, if there's ever any issues, you call me. But one of the concerns was, well, if we give you a pass, maybe you or your friends will use it for their power boat. That's never, ever gonna happen. It's absolutely restricted to what we do, and there's no way that it would be shared with anybody that has a power boat. Absolutely restricted to our non-motorized surf boats.
I'll show you, I really don't know anything about that. So the pass would be used to access the ramp.
Yeah,
Is
so
there
we have
a gate?
Yeah,
I
with
mean,
the
that's
gate,
what it
and
is,
you
the
need a
pass?
key to
Okay.
open that gate.
I got you.
So our thought was, really looking at the fact that there's so many lifeguards utilizing this, right? These are the same surf boats that the lifeguards use, and it's a great tool to help them hone their skills when they're not on the job. Because it's not like you guys can just bring a boat down from the beach and go out there and practice. So anything we can do to sort of enhance our lifeguards in the area and encourage more people to want to get into life-saving or rowing or these skills that are really important, that helps us in the long term in terms of trying to have a good resource pool to pull from when we're actually looking for hiring lifeguards.
Yeah, but I mean, really, the issue isn't the number of boats. I mean, it's really just to have the one pass.
Yeah,
I mean, that seems to be the real.
And really, we have no mechanism in place right now to be able to do that, which is why we asked Mr. Young to come before the council so that we can consider some type of agreement with this organization to allow this to happen, just so everything's, on the up and we're not doing anything out of the public light.
Okay, let me punt to our legal counsel here for the last word.
We're certainly not gonna do anything tonight. Okay, so I'm gonna take a look at this, and I'm gonna talk to Councilman Levis, and we'll talk about what we can, or what we can do if we wanna do anything. Okay, so there's law and there's policy. We'll have to take a look at it and see what we can do, how we can do it, what the mechanism will be, that kind of thing. And I'll just reserve any opinion at this point until
All right, so
I look at our laws.
hopefully we'll have something by the next meeting to share with you.
Okay, if you have any-
Councilman Levis, obviously.
If you have any questions in the meantime?
You have a card or anything? I know you're retired, you have something to say.
I used to have I got stickers, but I can put my number on the back.
Councilman Levis, he knows where to get that.
Yeah, Councilman Levis has my number. Any questions or concerns, reach out to me, and, absolutely. We'll work cooperatively in any way we can. It would be a great opportunity, and just as a matter of information, I've been doing this a long time, and this is the first time that we've been given an audience with any municipality. It's usually, oh, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and it's immediately no, instead of how, well, what does it mean? And what does it entail? And so we absolutely appreciate the fact that you have given us an audience, and that's more than we've gotten in a long time. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other workshop issues? Anyone?
I'd just like to thank the mayor and business administrator for taking an aggressive approach on the 5G Verizon issue. And thank you for this resolution that's going to allow us to have the special telecommunications attorney. I'd also like to thank the residents who are rallying behind this issue. This sustained opposition from the public must be heard. The lawn signs are all over town, and it brings us hope that our work isn't in vain. So well done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other things to discuss?
I just have one other thing, if that's okay. I wanted to follow up on the Main Street banners for the high school seniors. Families of the Belmar seniors have been contacted. If you haven't yet received a call or email from Belmar Board of Ed member Kimberly Check, please reach out to us, or you can email Kimberly directly at morethanyesterday@live.com. Deadline to request a banner for students with their picture is next Tuesday, May 30th. Belmar is really proud of our graduating seniors and happy to offer the banners to celebrate them this year. And speaking of schools, I was also told the teachers are very happy to see that we paved Railroad Ave by the school. I know that the borough continues to pave roads and has a plan. I've recently heard from many residents in my area, especially on L Street, regarding the dire need for paving there. I think 13th and 14th are right there in similar conditions. Mr. King, do you know when this area might be paved?
No, but we've been, Billy Muscle and I, we're working on our road inventory as we speak, just to identify, just take an inventory of the entire town and prioritize the, obviously it's all money driven, how much we can do, with road work and, we're talking, we need to check out the infrastructure also, so we're working on that, make sure the infrastructure is good, and then we can pave. So we're putting together an entire inventory that we'll be able to present to council in the near future.
Great, thank you.
Okay, petitions. Any petitions?
No, I did not receive any.
Okay. Approval of minutes.
Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 9th meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Okay, reports of council. Start with Council President Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tourism. Okay, I was just handed these two palm cards. Is there an anchor? They're on the table outside, yeah? Okay, so, the one with the QR code, this is the QR code to your dining guide. Everything you can really, the digital dining guide right there on your phone, every place to go. And then the other side is just a rundown of all the different events, the sandcastle contest, the movies, the concerts. We're gonna have fireworks for the 4th of July. Nice, very nice. And look at the very first thing, Seafood Festival. Ooh, that was something. We'll talk about that in a second. The other one is the actual schedule of the movies on the beach and the schedule of the bands in the plaza on Friday. Ooh, look at that. Okay, yes, I want to say something about Seafood Festival. I mean, in January, we were all concerned, I was very concerned about the Seafood Festival because our longtime tourism director was no longer here, and basically she took all the institutional knowledge about how the festival was put on and kind of left it in a box. And John Walsh had that handed to him. Here, buddy, can you save us? And he did the most impressive job. I gotta tell you again, I'm totally impressed. Every time I talk to him about it, what's going on, he had it all under control, and best yet, it's all written down so anybody can do it next year without having to reinvent the wheel. All right.
That's it, I'm fired, I know. I'm replaceable, that's what I hear.
And that, the DPW did a great job, police did a great job, the borough staff that came down and was there almost the entire weekend, great job. But honestly, John gets the big prize for having the idea for the petting zoo. That was genius. The petting zoo, oh my God, too cute for words, right? I also, as a retired teacher, want to thank Mrs. Administrator Kane for getting Railroad Avenue paved. I'm telling you, I parked on that street for more than 10 years before I actually got a space in the lot. And it was like parking on the moon on that little street there. And now it's just, it's wonderful. So thank you, sir. Okay, and I just, those of you might know that tonight is my last meeting. I'm going to be stepping down effective June 1st. It's personal reasons, a lot of family obligations, and honestly, it's really just, I'm feeling done, so I should be done. You don't want anybody up here who is 100% committed and really willing and able to put in the energy and the time. So I'm going to be stepping down, but I just wanted to say it's been an honor and a privilege. I tried to make a list of some of the things that I really was proud of. We have a bamboo restrictive ordinance, no, you can't plant bamboo, it's so invasive. That was the first ordinance I had done, oh my God, it was great. And Taylor Pavilion rebuilt, 10th Avenue Pavilion rebuilt. Belmar was ahead of the curve in banning single-use plastic bags, straws, and styrofoam before the state ever did it. I was really happy with the experience of planting the plants along the beach. I didn't get the results we would have hoped for, but the actual planting events where the volunteers and people from town showed up to help were they were really some of the best experiences I had while serving on council. And also redoing the treasure trove last summer with my wife. It was a great experience for me. And I've learned so much about the town. I've learned so much about the history of the town and the people that are here. Believe me, you know, when I was a kid, you know, I wasn't like, I want to grow up and be a municipal borough council president. And I was like, no, I wanted to be the Beatles. It was like so not on my bingo card to get involved, but the opportunity came along, presented itself. I grew up in a family where if you were asked to serve, you served. I have a brother who served as a municipal elected official. Several people in my family have volunteered. My late sister was very, very active in the Elks and Red Bank and statewide. And that's just the way we were raised. So it's been an honor and a privilege, really, to serve the residents of Belmar. I'm really humbled by the fact that you put your faith in me. I really appreciate that. I'm always going to carry that with me. I have tremendous faith in this mayor and this council moving forward. I'm very comfortable with the direction they're taking the town in right now, especially, you know, all the different issues. And there's going to be more. It never stops. And that's, you know, I just want to say thanks. And that's my report.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for your service, Tom Brennan. I think you've been a wonderful council president. It's been an honor to be able to sit next to you for a year and a half. I actually learned a lot from Tom, and so it was a good transition for me to have a friend up here, and so I'm going to miss you. So thank you so much. Okay, I also want to say how awesome the Seafood Festival was. What a great turnout on Sunday. Unfortunately, I had other events or other things on Friday, and I couldn't go on Friday, but we know what happened Saturday. But the kids band played, so of course you know they're near and dear to my heart. The Danny White Beach Music Kids Rock Band, so my son was up there, so that was great. I want to thank DPW, did a great job. The police were down there looking bored, which is great. We don't want them to be busy, so I was happy that there was a good police presence there, and so it was just a really great turnout. So thank you to everyone. John Walsh, thank you to everybody who was able to make that happen. I also wanted to say great looking lawn signs for the Verizon 5G thing. We're really getting our residents going with that. There's been some days of action out there, so writing your congressmen and your leaders, and I think it's great. We're trying to really work hard to gather our residents to make some progress, and I think we're starting to get there. So I'm encouraged about the resolutions tonight as well. Okay, so on to the other business. Shade Tree Commission. We have 3 trees planted at the Belmar Elementary School following Arbor Day. That was from our friends at the Fernwood Nursery. The nursery committee is going to determine the location for 2 other trees that they want to plant in town. $100 was approved for a pruning lesson by our master gardeners. Time and location will be determined, but this will be open to the public, and there will be advertising in advance so that people can come and learn how to prune their trees and their shrubs the right way, right? And the hazardous tree committee will be following up to inspect locations, tree removals, and stumps. Permits continue to be processed for hazardous tree removals, and cooperation for this public safety effort is greatly appreciated. And as you know, the Shade Tree Committee's meetings have moved to the 2nd Thursday of the month.
Correct.
Jim, am I right? Okay, good. Recreation, sign-ups for kids' running club, summer tennis, and summer basketball are still going on. Fall soccer sign-ups have actually opened too, so sign up for fall soccer. As you know, Friday night concerts in the plaza start this Friday. Angelo and John are the first performance. The Luckinville Pops Band is returning to Taylor Pavilion on July 3rd and will perform every Monday night at 7 o'clock through the summer. And the historic baseball game is coming back. So we did it last year, right? That's scheduled for June 17th at Memorial Field, 11 a.m. It's a rematch from last year's game, the Monmouth Furnace versus the Hoboken Nine. So there's gonna be another historic baseball game this year. And then I have just a couple things around the school. St. Rose Grammar School, the kids made their confirmation this past Thursday. And today was Carnival Day, so you might have seen some action happening around the grammar school. The kids had Carnival Day today. And the 8th graders graduate on June 8th, and the last day of St. Rose Grammar School is June 15th. 2 Mondays ago, the Belmar Police Department at the high school, the Belmar Police Department presented the senior class an activity called Project Crash, which was to warn students about the dangers of drinking and driving. The high school would like to thank the police department for their time and the support of the seniors, and they are looking forward to a fun and safe senior prom, which is actually tonight. So the senior prom is tonight at Jumping Brook. The seniors have their baccalaureate mass June 1st, and graduation is June 6th at Monmouth University. The last day of classes is June 9th, and finals are the final week. And the high school would like to remind us that this is their 100th anniversary of the high school, and there will be a centennial gala this November. Details to follow. And Belmar Elementary School wanted us to know that this is School Spirit Week, ending with Field Day this Friday. They have a fishing club at Belmar Elementary, which I think is awesome, and they've been fishing around local lakes and the river. And in June, they're gonna get a boat trip on the Captain Cow 2, like a real fishing trip, which is cool. May 30th is the overnight trip for the 8th graders to Woodlock Pines Resort in Pennsylvania. And I think that is all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rondinero.
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to extend my congratulations to Council President Tom Brennan. It's been an honor to work with him on the dais and also as a resident for the many years he served prior. As a music teacher, he brought music and music education into the lives of Belmar and Lake Como children, and he continues to do so, helping with Porch Fest and playing with Tommy B in the Deep Blue Sea. He's part of the fabric of the borough, and we plan to carry on his devotion to the environment, arts, and his historic initiatives. We hope we make you proud, Tom. Memorial Day. The borough will hold a Memorial Day service on Monday at 9 a.m. At Memorial Row. First, the fire department will have a ceremony, and then the armed forces. And I hear that we are working on getting the Belmar Elementary School choir to perform. I attended their spring concert last week, and it was incredible. Notes from the Belmar Housing Authority. I was asked last meeting to follow up regarding the status of the bidding process for a contractor to complete the necessary scaffolding around the building to protect pedestrians from falling building debris. There have now been 2 bids that were put out and no bids received. So the BHA is no longer required to bid, and they can directly reach out to a contractor to do it. There were talks with a company in North Jersey, but the bid was about twice as much as the estimate. So Executive Director DeSantis is now looking for a local company that can complete the work. Currently, the gas line meters are covered with wooden structures with pallets on top to protect them. We realized that there was an issue in the last rainstorm that we had. The BHA is also putting in for a grant this week of $200,000 from HAI Insurance Company, and that's to hopefully cover the needed repairs and modernization of the elevator. We'll know if we get the grant by the end of the summer. The BHA plans on using MHI Consulting for the elevator project. Additionally, Congressman Smith, as I mentioned before, has endorsed funding for these renovations of the Housing Authority building with his community project funding, and we are hoping that that will go through by the fall. I was told that the second hot water heater was replaced, and so now the building has 2 functioning hot water heaters, and that all repair orders are up to date. With the library is holding their first summer concert June 1st at 6 p.m. featuring Pat Roddy. Additionally, the Beach Music Studio Kids Rock Band concert is Saturday, June 10th at noon. That's at the library. the second annual Juneteenth celebration concert with the John Luckenbill Orchestra with speaker Tasha Youngblood Brown is Monday, June 19th at 7 p.m. in the Taylor Pavilion. The library is launching the summer reading scavenger hunt program with prizes for kids in grades K through 8. Details will soon be posted at the library website. Splat, the mosquito and tick after school program for kids by Monmouth County Mosquito Control Division will be Wednesday, June 7th at 4 p.m. And the adults and homeowners have a program too that's happening June 13th at 5:30. Lots happening at the library, so please visit the website and stay informed to the library events and activities. Lastly, the 35th New Jersey Seafood Festival here was incredible this weekend. It really, Friday and Sunday were beautiful. Thank you to John Walsh, who organized this massive project and brought joy to so many residents and visitors. The music, the food vendors, the craft vendors all delivered a true local experience. Thank you to the Tourism Commission, the borough employees, Kevin Kane, Kelly Williams, our new employee Megan, April, our DPW, Police Department, First Aid, Fire Department, Goodwill Fire Company and Hook and Ladder, and the many, many volunteers who together made the festival a huge success. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Levis.
Thank you, Mayor. Kudos to Mr. Kane for getting railroad half paid. It's a long time coming. Last Harbor Commission meeting was last Tuesday. Happy to report the marina is at capacity. If you want a boat slip, well, you missed the boat. It's a good place to be for us. So one of the things that the Harbor Commission discussed was possibly reviewing rates for next year earlier than we do previously. So maybe around August, if the council can review a recommendation on rates, that might be a better time for us to actually vote and get those rates set. It would give our team a better chance to basically re-up those slips so we continue to be at capacity for the years to come. In my discussions with some people around town, it's become kind of clear that there are some concerns about not having a bathroom at 6th Avenue this year. I understand that there were some issues with the trailer itself that prevented it from getting moved down there. I think we should look at whatever options we have to actually get it down there, whether it's a flatbed, whether it's 100 people carrying it on their shoulders. We're really going to need a bathroom down at 6th Avenue. And I know that it's a miracle that we have bathrooms as it is right now, but I think it's definitely something we need to consider for the summer. We get some crowded weekends. I'm not sure that we're going to have the capacity to do it without that extra bathroom trailer. So whatever we can do and look at, I think we need to really think outside the box to get that trailer down there. And that's my report. I just want to congratulate Council President Brennan again. I've had the pleasure of serving with you years past, and I've never gotten to serve with you for a full year. So, but I think this counts now. Maybe not a continuous year, but it's been great, Tom, and I appreciate the work you've done. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. I just have a few things. I'm told there were 2 small fires that were put out earlier this month. So I'd like to thank you to our Belmar fire departments for their quick response, and apparently no one was hurt. The other thing, reminder, obviously Friday starts off Memorial Day weekend, the unofficial start of summer for us here in Belmar, and the lifeguards and the beach open this Friday. So we're looking forward to that. I do have one question relating to the bathrooms. Do we know when the 2 new ones are coming? I know they're on 95 somewhere down in Georgia, something I heard, but I'm not sure.
Yes, we received an email. The manufacturers of the bathrooms are waiting on partitions, from what we were told. The partitions are on order, supposed to be received Thursday. They're gonna be installed immediately, and the bathrooms will be in transit on Friday for hopefully a Saturday delivery. Is that correct, Billy? So if you can cross your fingers, toes, legs, arms, everything you can cross them. But that was what the email said this morning. We've been pushing, our old engineer, Jerry Frieda, and Billy Musto have emailed the manufacturer every day, probably for the last month, pushing. And this was the latest email we received. So, and as far as your comments, what happened when we were moving the trailers, the rear axle, when they were making the turn to take it out, the rear axle broke and it bent the frame, which made it impossible to move at that point. But we'll put everybody's head together and see if there's any possible way. It's old. We're not going to promise anything on that because it's old to begin with. But hopefully we get the new ones in this weekend. So if you see activity, in the 8th and 11th area, you know what's going on. So
where are actual bathrooms right now? Where are bathrooms up on the boardwalk? Just if people
3rd,
ask.
16th, and 19th?
Yeah, correct.
So there's only 3.
Yeah, correct. 3rd, 16th, and 19th. And then the two that are coming are going to be 8th and 11th. So the only one that will be missing from past years is the one on 6th Avenue.
Okay, and finally, all the things that Tom has done through the years, I think April has incorporated them all into our proclamation that I'm going to read for you. Right, so bear with me, please. This is honoring our council president, Tom Brennan. Whereas Tom Brennan is dedicated to public service in the state of New Jersey, he focused on bettering the lives and well-being of Belmar's residents, and whereas Tom was elected to the Belmar Council in 2013 and was sworn in on January 1st, 2014, and has worked tirelessly for the betterment of Belmar residents, serving on the Harbor Commission, Environmental Commission, Tourism Commission, and Belmar Arts Council. And whereas Tom, in the wake of Superstorm Sandy, the largest natural disaster to befall Belmar, served tirelessly to protect and ensure the safety and recovery of Belmar residents and public infrastructure. And whereas Tom has a strong enthusiasm and passion for music, which was first seen in Belmar as a music teacher in Belmar Elementary School, in which he led the school band in the annual Recreation Halloween Parade and Costume Contest for many years. He also performed at many Belmar events, including the New Jersey Seafood Festival and Friday night concerts in Piano Plaza, as well as in many establishments in Belmar with his band, Tommy B and the Deep Blue Sea. And whereas a member of the Environmental Commission, he was instrumental in planting seagrass along the beachfront dunes, worked on the creation of the Belmar Echo Watch newsletter and Facebook page, and brought back to life the Belmar Treasure Trail, a self-guided walking tour which includes 38 stops of historical, artistic, and environmental interests throughout the borough. And whereas as a member of the Tourism Commission, he was instrumental in planning Belmar's annual special events for residents and tourists to enjoy. He was also a judge in the annual Sandcastle contest and a contestant in the cannoli eating contest at the San Gennaro Festival.
I didn't win that either.
Whereas, as a member of the Harbor Commission, he was instrumental in making the Belmar John Minuti Municipal Marina a prime destination for boaters, overseeing many years of repairs and improvements, new concessions and amenities, the addition of kayak storage spaces, and much more, which contributed to a full marina, bringing in more revenue to the borough. And whereas Tom was also well known for his green beard in the month of March in honor of the Belmar Lake Como St. Patrick's Day Parade and for handing out Mardi Gras beads at the council meeting on Fat Tuesday. Now therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council of the borough of Belmar congratulate Tom Brennan on his years of public service in New Jersey, and that the mayor and council hereby recognize Tom Brennan for his exemplary and honorable service to the borough of Belmar and its residents, for whom he has been a tireless advocate. Belmar is a better town to live in because of Tom and his service. Thank you. Thank you, Wade, for all that information.
We have this to present.
Oh, it's heavy. Funny. We gotta move over.
Okay, we're right in the middle, the helm of the proclamation.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that. Okay, I think we're up to the public session
Yes.
on the resolutions that are on the agenda.
If anyone would like to speak about a resolution that's listed on the consent agenda, please step forward, state your name and address. Can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the resolutions as listed on the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Okay, next is second reading and public hearing on ordinance 2023-8. This is an ordinance amending chapter 18 of revising the beach storage locker fees. If anyone would like to speak on this ordinance, please step forward, state your name and address. All right. No public comment. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-8?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
And last item is first reading and introduction of ordinance 2023-9. This is an ordinance amending and supplementing chapter 43 and 43A for small wireless facilities in the right-of-way. Can I have a motion to offer this ordinance for first reading?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Right, next is public session. Just a reminder to please state your name and address before you speak. If we could, I just have one message I'd like to read first. We received written correspondence from Patty and Wayne Washington from Howell, who could not attend the meeting but asked that their statement be read. The statement says, "My son Wayne and I would like to thank the Belmar Mayor and Council for providing adults with disabilities a vocational opportunity this summer." Excuse me, the circle of friends started by the Capoli family has helped so many in the community, not only Belmar, but throughout Monmouth County. Wayne and his friends are thrilled to be on the boardwalk this summer and look forward to meeting residents and visitors alike. Okay, and, if anyone else would like to speak, please step forward.
Go ahead.
We're a matching pair here, Buck and Jeff.
Just state your name and your address, please.
Bobby Martin, 1708 Highway 71, Springland Heights.
Pauline Valley, 1708 Highway 71, Spring Lake.
Okay,
We would like to thank the mayor and the council for giving our guys a chance to show that what they can do, how well they can do it. And it could lead to some full-time employment down the line for them. It will be fantastic training. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Step up.
My name is David Capoli. My name is David Capoli. My address is 402 North Avenue.
Okay, go ahead. No, just step back a little bit.
So now you're just gonna say, you gotta step back.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm here to present to the circles of friends. I can help you what is going to happen around town. I'd like to help you guys. Tom Britton, I'm so very proud of you, but sitting down, because you're a good friend of mine. Because I had to tell you, I have worked the public library. I will get all the exact details from you. Because I have worked from my public library with Lewis and hotels, but my library presents the circles of friends.
And we're happy.
And we're happy here.
That's right, and because David, I'm Mary Louise Anderson, I'm at 513 13th Avenue in Belmar. And I work closely with the Circle of Friends, and I also work at the Art of Mamas for the last 35-something years. But anyway, we are thrilled that we're going to be able to promote mentorship and job training and socialization, job skills to the individuals that are part of our Circle of Friends. And we thank you for the opportunity to do so.
That's why I'm going to helping my friends support these kids need a job.
That's right, because you have a job and you want
Because
to.
they have a job, because to make you understand it.
Everybody knows, and you're happy that your friends might have a job, an opportunity to get a job too, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much, David. Anyone else? State your name and address.
I'm sorry, sir?
Just state your name
Oh.
and your address.
Hi, my name is Vincent Townsend III. My address is 1351 Tamarack Road, Manasquan, New Jersey, 08736.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, and welcome to Belmar Borough Hall. How you guys doing today?
Doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you for asking. I want to thank the mayor of Belmar and the councilwoman, people, and Matt, of course. And also want to acknowledge several people during the courthouse tonight.
Okay.
I am part of a Circle of Friends hiatus. We're doing a Circle of Friends Cafe in the Taylor Pavilion tomorrow night from 5:30 to 7 o'clock. We have an interview tomorrow, right? Yeah, we have an interview tomorrow. And applications has to go out tomorrow, as always. I'm very excited to be a part of a Circle of Friends Cafe. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night at 5:30, 7 o'clock. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
If I may. Hi, I'm not really a resident of Belmar, but I'm a founding member of the Belmar Arts Council. My name's Kevin Maypother, and I'm also the creator and the director of the Piano and the Prosa Project. honoring David Sanchez and his mother Stelma, and set up to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Belmar's birth. For those of you who don't recognize the name, the Sanchez's, David was the original keyboard player for the E Street Band, and the band was named after, the house where David and his family lived. But I'm here this evening to acknowledge my friend Tom. For his contributions to this town of Belmar. Years ago, Eileen Chapman and I tried to start a multicultural, regular music program here in town. The first event that we had was a celebration of Samhain. We had Irish poets and dancers, and we reached out to a group called Pipe on the Hob, which was Tom Brennan's band with his father. Tom has always been here for Belmar. When I first proposed the idea of having the project, I approached Tom first, and he opened the doors to the previous administration. Without you, it never would happen. So, thank you.
Good evening, Mark Presto, 13th Avenue in Belmar. I have two things I'd like the town to address. One of them is a lot of people are concerned now with the summer that the recycle is going to be on Thursdays. And is it going to continue to be on Thursdays during the summer? I believe there's an ordinance, though, that the recycles have to be put out after maybe 6 p.m., I think, the night before, and then the empties collected at some time. Do we know what that regulation is?
I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, we can,
In any event, it's a concern for a couple of reasons. The first, that we don't want to look like, a garbage town where things are just laying out all across the street where the rentals are. Because they come in for the weekend, they leave on Sunday, and we can't have them put their recycles out Sunday night and stay there till Thursday. And the second thing is, for litter, the ocean, things are gonna get blown away, the litter, the plastic bags and everything get swept into the ocean. So I believe there's an ordinance, and I just want to make sure it's enforced. Or first of all, make sure we have the ordinance in place.
I can actually comment on this one, Mayor, because I did research this to make sure we do have an ordinance, and so recycling will still be on Thursdays for everyone. We do have an ordinance that if people put out their recycling, if those rentals put out their recycling on, say, Saturday night for pickup on Sunday, it's not gonna get picked up by the regular recycling service, but they're gonna get a fine, and then we're gonna bill them to actually remove it ourselves. So that's the way the ordinance is written right now.
Okay, so if they put their recyclables out on Sunday night.
Which they shouldn't do.
But they will.
People will, and they'll be fined for it.
Yeah.
So code enforcement will make sure.
But will the town then will pick it up?
According to our ordinance, yes, and then we will charge them for the cost that it cost us to pick it up.
And you'll charge the owner of the house, and then he'll deal with the renters, I guess.
Yep.
And what about then the removal of the empty cans? Is there an ordinance that says it needs to be put back? I mean, you can't keep your garbage cans and things out in front of your house all day. I don't know what the rule is, but I think it's not in the back of the house, but before the front of the house or something like that.
It's gotta be out of the street by 5 o'clock on the day of pickup. You
Yeah.
can't leave the empty can out.
So somebody needs to be, taking care of that. And, hopefully, either the tenants or the owners will start to know that this is gonna be enforced, and they'll have to, it's not a big deal. You arrange for I used to have a rental unit that I rented out. You just arrange for somebody to come and put it out and take it away. So I'd like to see that. The second thing has to do with cars on the street for indefinite periods of time. We did make an inquiry to a car that's parked on our street, and it's there for months at a time, but it's registered. So there's nothing you can do about it. It sits there, garbage collects around it. It's just deteriorating there. and I'm sure it's in other areas as well. Could we consider an ordinance to limit it to some reasonable time, even if it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that? Isn't that, I mean, towns do have ordinances as such.
So Mayor, we run into this problem sorry to interrupt.
All the time.
We do not have an ordinance. As long as the car is legal, it's registered, and it's a valid registration, unless it has, 4 flat tires or missing a tire, or, looks like it's in disrepair or looks like it's abandoned, there's not much we can do. I can certainly look into an ordinance that we could maybe put in place in order to put, time frames on it.
I don't know how.
Yeah, we can look into that.
Yeah.
Chief, does that apply to commercial vehicles as well?
Commercial vehicles is a different, ordinance. Technically, they cannot be parked on the street at all,
Okay.
unless they're doing work at a house or a home or, landscapers or construction or stuff like that. We've been getting several complaints about that as well, and we're addressing them as they come in.
Okay.
And the guys are out there looking. I know there was, I drove by something today, and there's like literally a trailer, not hooked up to anything, parked on a side street, so, I made them aware of that, to go check it out. Unfortunately, a lot of the workers, and, they don't know our ordinance, so, a lot of it is, we're just addressing them and informing them, hey, we have this ordinance now. You cannot leave, trailers parked on the street overnight or anything like that, so. A lot of it is educating them, and, also, if it's not going to they are being issued summonses.
Okay, thank you. I had one thought on the bathroom for Third Avenue. Oftentimes, you can rent pretty nice bathroom facilities. You see them at professional golf outings. They had them at the Hominy, county golf course, Hominy. Would that be a consideration? I don't know, it's very expensive, but perhaps we have the availability to do that.
The only thing we would have to find out about, again, is, we would have to get approval from DEP to put anything on the beach. If we wanted to put it, in the street, obviously, then we just have to get approval from the county, because we're not touching the beach, but, everything that's done on the beach requires DEP approval. So, that's a good idea, but then the question is, where do we put it, to accommodate the people? It's something we could look into, obviously, and see if we can get something that works. And also look at the existing one that we have and see if it could be moved somehow.
Yeah, an alternative. But Third Avenue is near the lake, where you have, plenty of space there.
But we have one on Third Avenue. We need the one on Sixth.
Oh, 6, well, it's close to 6 as well, Fifth
Yeah.
Avenue.
Well, there's a 5-block span between, 3rd and 8th where we have the bathrooms.
Yeah.
So, it's not.
On the north side of the lake there could be a good place. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I have a question with regards to recycling. At tourism, can we give letters out to the landlords through tourism and give them a heads up about the recycling situation, just saying that, they have to, isn't that?
I don't
If
think
you
it would be
apply
through-
for your CO that you
I don't
have.
think it would be through tourism. It would be through, how they get their license. When they get their license.
Yeah.
They get a big packet anyway.
Right, so is there something in there that's kind of giving these landlords a heads up about the situation, because maybe they don't even know that recycling's on Thursday, and they have to have their kids, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, code enforcement should be able to send out an email, and apply.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea to have code enforcement. Obviously, it would be everyone who's having a problem, so it would be good to focus on those that are, apt to get a ticket, and then they will have to make arrangements, and I like that idea. Obviously, if you own property, you need to get somebody to cover it for you, property manager or somebody to do that.
New York City, or New York State, they don't come down, they have renters
Well,
all summer who don't care, and they may get ticket after ticket after ticket and not care.
Well, then if they come here, then they have to worry about getting arrested. There's going to be a warrant out. We can do one of those things where we offer them like a free radio. Come to Belmar, pick up your free radio, and then,
Being proactive, I'm just trying to think ahead how we can give them a heads up. This is the situation with our recycling this year, that's different than last year.
I think it's a good idea.
The code enforcement used to hand out a letter of the do's and don'ts. Do they still do that? I'm not sure.
Not in a long time.
Not in a long time? Maybe I'll bring that back.
Yeah, maybe we just need to remind them that, you know, the dates have changed, and, you know, they're responsible for bringing in the, you know, recycling container, and, see what happens.
Right, and if you don't, we'll do it for you and we'll bill you.
We'll bill you, right? Okay, any other comments?
Yes, Terry Lewis, 511 Fifth Avenue. I have a little bit of a concern where I live, because right across the street where River Road is, there is a stop sign. It's where the curve is. And even coming here tonight, someone blew right through it. It happens every time I'm home. Every day that I'm home, at least, I witness somebody going through that, multiple people. My question is, because they just redid that section, is it possible to put paint on the road, stop sign ahead, like further back? Or stop ahead? Because people they don't even yield. They just blow right through it. It's dangerous. And I know when the workmen were there making the road repairs, there was a couple of really close calls with commercial vehicles, because people were still trying to do their business with yard work and landscapers and things, and they were just in the way. And you live on Fifth Avenue, Mayor Joe.
It's
Yeah.
coming off of Inlet Terrace onto Fifth.
Yeah, it's just, it's a
We
real
can definitely
hazard.
look into that.
And with
you know,
the summer,
or we can
it's
put a
just gonna
sign
get
that
worse.
says, you know, stop ahead, or,
Yeah,
you know,
stop
whatever.
sign ahead, or be aware, stop something, or put somebody
That's,
there to hand out tickets all day long.
Or they do the rolling stop. You've seen that a lot, right?
I've seen it they just go straight
Yeah,
through.
and sometimes they
They're
just blow right
not-
through it.
I know. In addition to that, I just want to say thank you, Tom Brennan. And thank you for your volunteerism, just to tag on to Kevin Maypother. You gave your time with your band at the events that we had, and was very much appreciated. I just want to say thank you from myself.
Thank you. Anyone else? Wait.
Everybody, Katrina Classes, B Street. Tom, good luck to you. Have good times, you and Mary out there. Good for you. Thank you for all you've done for the town. I have a kind of question, Corey, about the Verizon thing. Kudos to everybody working on this. The town's really rallied. It's a great thing to see. I do have a question though concerning, and you're gonna have to help me walk through it, okay? So we're kind of punting to Monmouth County, right, with the CAFRA permit going to Monmouth County, right? So now what we do, we wait for Monmouth County to either do or not do whatever they're supposed to do. Is that kind of where we're at?
It's in Monmouth County's court, right up in Monmouth County.
Okay, it's in Monmouth County's court. So I just want to kind of throw this out there in case it gets thrown back into Belmar's court, which is possible that it may, because we know how these things work. And I'm just going to refer to a letter that Mr. McGill sent to Mr. Meese, and it's dated April 24th. And what this letter says, Belmar again asks that Verizon Wireless join the borough in seeking an alternate treatment for the proposed poles and perhaps a more holistic approach to the providing of coverage throughout the borough of Belmar. Ideally, the borough would prefer that the poles be placed off Ocean Avenue on avenues perpendicular to Ocean Avenue, but within an acceptable range to provide the same coverage to the beach. Now what that says to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that the ideal for Belmar is that let's take it off the ocean and bring it into the neighborhoods. Perpendicular to Ocean Avenue means the west side of Ocean Avenue, the avenues first, second, third, fourth. Am I right in my reading of this was what you guys are thinking would be an alternative to the ocean?
Mayor, if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because, when that letter was written, we were kicking around a lot of different things, and, we were thinking about perhaps if the nodes or the antennas could be put on the telephone poles that were down each of the roadways, we would avoid the unsightly poles. They didn't want to do that, and really, we didn't have any facts behind us to say, yeah, that would work, which is why we went with Peter Lupo to give us some firepower, so to speak, because we were kind of, dealing with, we didn't have a lot of facts on our side.
Right.
So that was a thought that we were kicking around at the time. We have since come across other information that we may not like the poles at all. But I'm not gonna get into that because they may be an evil that necessary or unnecessary that we're gonna have to deal with. So yeah, that was a theory at the time, it didn't fly with Verizon in any event.
Right, because the following letter
Right.
says that no, that's not
Right,
gonna
and
happen.
we were pretty much trying to, bring them to the table, and we made a suggestion. Hopefully that they would come back and say, no, we're not gonna do that, but we can do X or Y or Z.
Right.
But they just came back and said, we're doing what's on the plan, so that's where that was.
Okay, great, I think it's great that you guys have hired somebody that does this, an attorney that this is what they specialize in. I mean, that's perfect, because I would hate to see them coming into the neighborhoods, because that's just as offensive. In fact, maybe even more so for the people lining up and down these avenues, and all of a sudden you're in front of your house and you have this hole outside of your house versus on the beach. They're both, equally as offensive, so
They're
thanks.
offensive every place.
Right,
So
right.
That's pretty much where
Right.
we're at.
Right, all right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Caitlin Donovan, 513 8th. First, I want to say thank you to Tom Brennan. Thank you for your years of service and for being the only person who is daft enough to think that this Irish girl could develop a sense of rhythm. So thank you. And thank you to everyone up there for your leadership and your transparency and communications about the Verizon poles. I know everyone I've talked to really appreciates it, so thank you. I have a question about the ordinance. Is it appropriate at all to include any language about an environmental study being required for any new construction?
That ordinance was, that ordinance is the product of Peter Lupo, and it's based on the latest FCC requirements, and really what the FCC came out and said in their order, it's FCC 18-133, if anybody wants to read 116 pages of it. So they really outlined what you could and could not do. I'm not certain if environmental is precluded. However, it's really geared to prevent hurdles. Environmental is important. I will talk to Peter about that, and I'll get an answer for you. But it's really modeled on what the FCC said we could do. My gut says if we could do it, it'd be in there, but I don't know that for sure.
I know a lot of people on the environmental commissions that were concerned about the nesting birds down on Ocean Ave.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
I think that's a great
Anyone else?
idea to add some sort of environmental study, because I would argue that half the people that I talked to about that, that's their biggest concern.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I will bring that up to Peter. I'll discuss that with him, and if it can't be in there, I'll find out why, and if it can, we'll work out something to put it in.
And if possible, looking at the effect of the human environment as well, what these waves and radiation could do to us, our children.
That is referencing birds, I'm sorry. For the
Unfortunately, the migrating birds might go further. It might go further with a stop or some sort of issue, whatever works, whatever sticks, that we, can fight back.
The interesting thing is, the one thing that you can't talk about is whether it affects humans, because the FCC says that it doesn't. I know that ruling is somewhat in question at the moment, so, but if you put that in ordinance, that will be illegal. That's the strange thing about it. You might be able to talk about birds, but talk about humans, and they don't want to hear that, okay? So that's the strange and the true fact about it.
Okay. Gentleman behind you. Okay. I'm sorry. She needs to move up. No, go ahead.
I was 114 8th Avenue, Belmar. I wasn't going to talk about this, but you mentioned the environmental impact of radiation. I'm a radio amateur. As Gene is too. We know May 3rd of this year, we got a requirement that as radio amateurs, we have to determine what the radiation is from our transmitters. So I find it hard to believe that the government does not, the FCC, who put out this ruling as of May 3rd this year, finds that the impact on human beings from cell towers is somehow going to be different from the radiation that we put out from our radio transmitters. So I don't accept the FCC's opinion that there is a danger to that. Okay, so what I really want to talk about is, I'm on the sign committee, which is the spin-off of the planning board. And what I've noticed is that we're getting a few more banners and signs, which we'll call them flood flags or banners. They seem to be proliferating. The latest two are on the boardwalk, which is Jersey Mike's. We also have them at burritos, we have them at the Mexican restaurant, the smoke shop. There's a barber shop. They're around and they're getting more prolific. So the sign ordinance, which you have here, which is 40-7.24, says that to protect the public health, safety, and welfare by restricting signs which impair the public's ability to receive information, violate privacy, or which increase the probability of accidents by distracting attention or obstructing vision. To encourage signs which aid orientation, identify activities, to encourage signs which promote a desirable visual environment. And I think that's the key here. And also the fourth item here is to encourage replacement of non-conforming signs by conforming signs to the strict enforcement of the procedures and requirements of the section. So you have in here an ordinance which prohibits flutter flags, banners, advertising flags, pinwheels, stuff like that. So the problem is that we have the ordinance, but it's not looked at, it's not enforced. So I think you have a choice to make. I'd like to know what you guys want to do as to whether or not you repeal the ordinance, enforce the ordinance, or just continue like we're doing, which is looking the other way. I think the ordinance is a good ordinance. I think it should be enforced. But at the same time, I talked to Bob Hoffman about this the other day. At the same time, there should be a little more direction as to how you want to. I think it's not the fault of the people that have the banners, because again, they just don't know the laws. But the law's here. So it's up to you to, if you could, give us some direction, give me direction.
Well, I just happen to have the ordinance here. And the next section says, though, that there's an application procedure to put up a sign, and it has to be made to the zoning officer for the issuance. So the question I have is, has the zoning officer approved these signs? And if so, why? And if not, why hasn't he? That's really the issue. The ordinance is fine, but how are signs getting up without the approval of the zoning officer?
Yeah, banners, that's what it's.
Do you know how that has happened? How are these signs getting approved without the zoning officer approval?
Well, the banners are not approved, they just stick them in the ground.
Yeah, but
The
it's not
signs-
going to change the ordinance if the current, provisions of that ordinance aren't being followed. we have a provision. It says, the application shall be made to the zoning officer for the issuance of a development permit by any person wishing to erect, alter, modify, or expand any sign except exempt signs. Now, I'm gonna tell you, this ordinance is another one of those many ordinances that we're gonna have to rewrite, because there's no reference to exempt signs in this ordinance. It's from a prior ordinance, and whoever drafted this was sloppy, didn't clean that up. The other thing is, then it says, if the administrative officer determines a sign requires the issuance of a development permit, and then it goes on, you know, whether it's part of an accessory structure, and blah, 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 blah. But I mean, the whole bottom line is, this is geared, this ordinance, to give the power to the zoning officer to make a decision about whether the sign should be there or not. Now, my thrust after reading this and hearing you is maybe we should write an ordinance that takes that power away from the zoning board official and just say, you know what? These signs are not permissible. End of story. Because obviously, there are many signs being put up without the approval of the zoning officer. That's where the problem lies.
So the zoning officer reviews the awnings and canopies and wall signs. Our sign ordinance used to be very detailed and say these specific signs are not permitted, and I believe flutter flags were in there. There was, I don't know if it's still in there, but there was a provision that you can't cover a certain percentage of the window and things like that, and the ordinance was updated and a lot of things were removed. So basically, the zoning officer is only reviewing and approving applications for replacements of wall signs and awnings. People don't submit applications for flutter flags or like, Memorial Day sale banners or going out of business banners and stuff like that. There was provisions, that those type of banners could be up for a certain amount of time. I'm not even sure if that's still in there.
I'm glad you brought this up, because this is gonna be another rewrite, I think, Mr. McGill, of our sign ordinance, because it's ineffective the way it's written right now. So, that I think should take care of your issue ultimately.
Well, ultimately, you have the ordinance already here. The question is, do we enforce it? That's.
Well, I'm gonna say, depending upon how quickly we get a new ordinance, sure, we can enforce it, but then we have to deal with the zoning officer going out and seeing whether or not they need a permit for those. I mean, we certainly could do that in the interim, until we redo the ordinance.
Okay.
But, I mean, I think I really need to get a legal opinion on that before we do anything. Because there are other sections of this ordinance that say that certain signs are prohibited, like billboards. And it actually does mention, I think, signs with flags, flutter flags, banners, pinwheel, portable signs, inflatables. I mean, these are all in the ordinance. It says it's prohibited. So the ordinance itself is contradictory, because in one part it's saying you need to get the approval of the zoning officer, then in the other part it says these are prohibited. So if it's prohibited, why do I need to get the approval of the zoning officer?
Exactly.
It's prohibited.
That's correct.
So I think, we need to talk.
Well, that sounds like it's guidance. It sounds like.
I thought she did. She's over an hour.
Normal setup is that you need a permit, so you come in for a sign permit, and then those things that are prohibited, then you're prohibited, and if you want to appeal the zoning officer, you go to the zoning board of adjustment. So that's how it usually works. I'll look at our sign ordinance to see if we actually have.
I mean, I don't want people to have to spend money to ask for a permit when we know the zoning ordinance officer is going to say, no, it's not permitted. It just seems like an extra step,
Well, they can read the ordinance and they don't have to ask for it.
No, but it says it's prohibited.
It's prohibited, right.
So, I mean, it's like if I put up a billboard, it's prohibited.
No, I wouldn't ask to put up a billboard because it says it's prohibited.
Right. But I mean, if somebody puts up a flag sign
Thank you.
and the zoning officer sees it, then that person gets
A ticket.
fine, right? Take the sign down. That's it.
Like the trees. People are supposed to take the trees down.
Gets us money.
But that's what I'm saying, but we shouldn't require them to have to put in a permit, only to be told that, your sign is prohibited. It just seems like, we're causing people to spend money for a permit when we already know that that sign's not gonna be, you know, unless it's a gray area of some kind, you know, then obviously, maybe the zoning board needs to.
Sometimes, Mayor, they know it's prohibited, they come and ask for it because they intend to go to the zoning board of adjustment and say, in my circumstance, I really could have a bigger or whatever sign. I don't know if there'd be any justification for pinwheels. I mean.
Can't we put in the ordinance that you can't go to the zoning board to do that? Can we just say, no matter what size it is, what modification you want to make, it's prohibited. So don't waste your time going to the zoning board, because they have more, you know, interesting things to deal with. I'm just kidding you.
It's in your hands.
What's that?
It's in your hands.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It'll be fixed at some point. Oh, Claire, come on, Claire.
No.
Can I make a suggestion to people? If you want to speak, just come up and sit at the front while somebody else is speaking. Then we'll know you're ready to go.
Claire Hayner, 18th and B. One quick question, well, a couple quick questions. On the thing that we passed over to Monmouth County, for them to sign versus us signing that certificate, property owner certification?
Yeah.
It said project name, Belmar Ocean Avenue nodes 1, 3, 5, 7, 10, 14, 16, 18, and 20.
Yeah.
What did that mean? Like, is it possible that's the only place you're gonna put the towers? Maybe?
No, they were going to start with 9. They were going to start with
Okay,
9.
that's what- okay,
And that's
that's
why
what
there's
that
only
was.
9 on there,
Okay.
yes.
All right, that one's
That was
done.
it, yeah.
While you're surveying all the streets, have you noticed any curbs that don't have the cutouts? Okay, I'll leave it at that. Piano Plaza is owned by the town of, or town borough of Belmar, correct?
Yes.
Okay, if I was to possibly, purchase Don's Pizzeria or rent Don's Pizzeria out, can I have as much space as Brandel has in Piano Plaza?
That's a question for the attorney. I believe.
I'm being facetious, I don't really need an answer, okay? Thank you, all right, but are we receiving rent or anything? Piano Plaza's gonna be happening during the summer, we're getting a piano down there, and I think the more space we have for the people versus a restaurant in that respect, just FYI,
We'll have to look into that.
okay?
I think we were looking into that
Yeah.
already.
Okay, thank you. And last but not least, Tom, I don't know if you remember the first time we met. You were running for council, okay, you knocked on our door, and it just happened to be at the time where they were changing 18th Avenue to a one-way all year long. And you were kind enough to stand there and listen to me complain quite a bit about it, because I still think it's ridiculous all year long, but it is what it is, and we drive the right way all the time. But more so, you were the only one on council that, when the vote came about, that turned it down. So, thank you very much, and for all that you've done for the town. Thank you. Thank you.
Why don't? No, you're all right, you're all right. We're going to start a new
And I
process.
apologize if I'm a little bit naive here, but from what I've read, the reason that we need all these towers in town is for the density of the cell activity. Is that correct?
Allegedly, that's what
Yeah, allegedly, right.
Verizon is claiming.
For 60 years that I lived in Belmar, parking meters were fine, and you sold beach badges in kiosks on the boardwalk. Wouldn't a simple solution be just to get rid of the parking app? And then you don't have, they don't have the need for it.
No, it's not the app that's causing the problem. It's not the data communications. It's the voice communication that they're focusing on. It's not, has nothing to do with the data, you know, through Park Mobile or anything like that. It's the voice service. That's what the FCC can control. That's what they're regulating. It's not,
Isn't the volume mostly for parking?
no,
Okay.
It's the
Right,
users
like I said,
on the
it was
beach
not
that
your
are.
question, I apologize to you.
Yeah, no, it's people using their phones on the beach.
Okay, good enough, thank you.
Kelly Williams, 1202 Monmouth Boulevard in Wall. I just want to thank Mr. Brennan for all of his years of service. I was hired as a borough employee 15 years ago,
under Mary. So I'm forever grateful, you guys. Thank you so much for all you did.
Thank you, Mrs. Williams.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Oh, Kevin?
I promise I won't keep you, but since it's Mr. Brennan's last meeting, and to go off to Mr. Mayfather's comments, and happy to report that your idea for your piano project in Piano Plaza will be coming to fruition through generous donations. We are waiting on one more check, and at the end of that, we'll be able to order the piano. So thank you. Thank you, Kevin Mayfather and Tom Brennan, for starting this initiative. And you'll see it come to fruition. Thank you.
Kevin, actually. Okay. Any other comments?
You have a swan song?
Come on up.
Listen, I have.
I'm sorry, I just need your name and your
My name
address.
is Roberta Paladrano, Robin, and I'm the owner of Robin's Nest at 506 Main Street in Belmar. I would like to make the council aware that I put a $20,000 bid in for Taylor Pavilion. And it is running along the same lines as these young men spoke about. I've been in business for 30 years with developmental disabilities. And this is something that I've dreamed of. So I would like you to take into consideration that bid. And it would be doing the same thing as what was bidded before. I just had no idea that it was up for bid. I heard about it, and I went down today and I put the bid in. So I guess that you consider it in a timely manner. Thank
We
you,
will
thank you for
forward
listening.
it to our attorney and we'll see where we're going with
Thank you.
that.
Well, Mayor, the bid was for a concession, it was bid twice, and we didn't receive any response to that. So it wasn't actually bid in the sense for developmentally disabled persons or anything like that. I know that your bid came in the same thing, so I understand that. But the Circle of Friends came before us and had a good suggestion, and we do have the ability under the local lands and building law to lease property to nonprofit corporations for public purpose, which is a wide definition of public purpose, is widely interpreted in the courts, and certainly what they have proposed fits that bill. So the problem is that they have already come before us and we have committed to them. So I don't think that they are going to, they don't have any intent for next year. So perhaps we could work out something for next year, but we have committed to them, and they have taken action, certain actions. They're getting donations of equipment and things of that nature. So, we're not at the end of that process, but they have acted based on what we have done and we have committed to them. So
there's a resolution.
So no, there's no resolution yet, and we do have your bid, and we'll take a look at it, but, they were in the door first, so to speak, and we've committed to them, and they're a good organization, so.
What about the money? Yeah, that was right. No disrespect to the Circle of Friends, but this one was offering to pay.
Yeah, I'll offer to pay, I mean, it's something to take into consideration, that's not controlling, either way, Circle of Friends, we're allowed to do what we do because they're a 501c3 nonprofit, this is a profit-making venture,
But the
so.
Circle of Friends won't be excluded. It's not excluded because I plan doing it and helping people with disabilities, integrating the community, persons without disabilities, working alongside of those that have the disability, that are capable, and mostly all of us.
Yeah, I don't make the decision, I was just saying where we were at in the process and why we were there and how we got there, so.
Okay, again, I'd like your consideration on this matter. Thank you for
Thanks.
everything.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Can I have a motion to,
Okay.
Mark Prester again. This just came up, so it's kind of new, but my understanding that she'd be willing to pay the $20,000 in rent and also employ the members from Circle of Friends?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Probably worth considering.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
can I have a motion to close the public session and adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.